welcome to the second episode of the Meaning You Give It podcast. Today, I will be giving you 5 tips to work on your self-worth. So why self-worth? Why is it beneficial and why is it important? A lot of people say that confidence is a fake it till you make it kind of art. I don't think many of us are born feeling 100% confident and stay that way forever. The older we get, the more pressure is on us and more judgment based on what is our relationship status? Are we married? Do we have kids? What kind of a job do we have? How much do we get paid? Do we drive nice cars and all of that? And if you don't feel like by a certain age you've achieved something, all of a sudden you're not good enough. Your self-worth, your confidence, it all just goes downhill because you're not at the top of your game. At some point, you just have to stop. So tip number 1 is start paying attention to what you think about yourself. That way, when you're standing in front of a mirror, you can consciously think about what are your thoughts. Are you more of I look good today, look at me, I'm dressed quite well, look at my hair. Or are you more of God, I've looked like I've put on 5 kilos, I'm ugly, look at this, look at that, this could be better. And you're consistently lacking something. You don't appreciate your body. You're just like, no, not good enough, full stop. So stop right now and think about what I'm about to say. We don't care what we think about ourselves. We care what we think that other people think about us. This is the world we live in nowadays. So technically, you care more about what other people think of you than what you think of you. That's just ridiculous. You are your own person and you should care more about what you think about you than what others think about you. So tip number 2, from these negative thoughts, standing in front of your mirror, thinking about how crap you look or how you've put on 5 kilos or anything else, that constant feeling of lack, change it, flip it. In the morning, when you go to the bathroom and you brush your teeth, you look in the mirror and you think one good thing about yourself. One good, positive thing. You don't even have to believe it. That's the trick. You do not have to believe your thoughts. Whether they're positive or negative, you just have to think them. Consciously realize that it is okay to think positively about yourself, about your body, and you can feel accomplished without being a millionaire by 25. Remember, you don't have to believe it. Just keep saying it. I know I've been there. You might be thinking, what the hell am I doing? What did she tell me to do? This is ridiculous. Why am I doing it? But it works. Just trust the process. Just give it time. If you've already spent most of your life being negative to yourself, about yourself, don't expect it to change overnight. It doesn't work like that. You have to put the effort in, be consistent, and with time, you'll start seeing that you're a little bit more positive. So tip number 3 is make sure you don't ever base your self-worth on something or someone. Because let me tell you this, you might be in a relationship where it's amazing. They love you or you love them so much and you feel like you're on top of the world. You have all the confidence, all the belief in yourself. That's amazing. But what if that relationship ends? What if you lose that job that makes you feel so good about yourself? What if the only nice thing about you is the car that you drive? That is not real self-worth. That's just things that make you feel confident for a while you have them. But what if you lose them? What then? This is why we have to build our self-worth from inside out, not from the outside in. It doesn't work the other way around. It's a one-way street. So please, if you take anything from this episode today, that self-worth is not handed to you. You can't buy it. You can't force it. You can't fake it. But eventually, if you fake it, you'll make it. You'll get there. Sometimes it takes you being out of your comfort zone. I promise it will work. Tip number 4. This is where things become a little bit easier because you start believing that things can be better and that you are better. You start believing that maybe you do deserve a little bit more from life, that maybe you are good enough to achieve something bigger. You start having dreams, you start having plans, goals that you know they're not way higher than the moon. You know that these things they're achievable. You just have to keep working on yourself. You have to keep building up your confidence. You have to keep doing this. And you know you'll get there. It's a process. You start realizing it's not just a wish upon a star. You realize it's a process. It's a step by step, and you'll get there. That's the point that I was at. That's why I started this podcast, because I started believing in myself. And even though this might not get millions of views, and even though maybe there will be some videos that get no views and I'll get no subscribers or listeners, I don't care, because I'm not doing this to get validation. I'm not doing this to get fame. I didn't set my goal to be, if I earn $1 million, whatever, dollars, pounds, whatever, from this podcast, that will be my self-worth. It doesn't work like that. I've based this podcast on the fact that I found my purpose, and that's what I'm going with. Tip number 5, this is where things get interesting. This is where life starts accelerating, where things start happening. And that's the final tip. Start living your life and stop settling for what you used to think you were worth. This is where your new beliefs come in, where your new self-worth, your values, your opinion about yourself, this is where it all comes into play. This is your game. Your life is in your hands now. This is now up to you to take control and realize that you're destined for bigger and better things. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to give you 3 things that ruin your self-worth. They're not the only ones, but I feel like in my life at least, they're the main ones. So first one is your breakup. Breakup can be a huge downfall in your self-confidence, in your self-love, in your just emotional state overall. So watch out. Make sure that when you're in a relationship that you are still you. That you don't become one person that can't live without the other. I know what they say, love is a magical thing, it's great. But remember that you are your own person with your own goals, with your own mindset, with your own personality. You are your own human, and your self-worth should not be based on the person you are with, because whether you're with them or you're without them, you are still you. Second thing is environment. Make sure you're surrounded by good people that believe in you, because if all you're ever told throughout your life is that you suck, that you're not good enough, you will not get there unless you are a super independent and strong human, where opinion of others doesn't affect you. And that doesn't happen to many of us. So make sure that your environment, that's your family, your parents, your friends, your wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, make sure that they are supportive of you and that they help you, not bring you down. And the last one is failure. How many of you have been in a place where you don't even start something because of the crippling fear of failure? How many of you don't even say your dreams or goals out loud because you're already scared that people are just gonna judge you, or you'll be humiliated, or that it's not okay? And imagine how many people sometimes can't even pick themselves up from failures. They just stay at the bottom. That's why after you failed, you just get back up and carry on. Get back on that horse. You have to. Don't give up. Failure doesn't mean anything. It just means you have to try again. And you only fail when you give up. You can just keep trying. Keep trying. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Try again. It's like me with this podcast. I've recorded this episode a few times. I've made quite a lot of mistakes. I'm still new at this. But you know what? I keep trying. Even if this video fails, even if it's crap, even if the next one is crap, I'll keep improving a little bit by a little bit. Sometimes we see failure, but it's not failure. You just have to learn from these experiences. Most of the time, your life will not end if you fail. The earth will not stop spinning. It really won't. Not for you, not for me, not for anybody else. It will keep going, and so will you. Just pick yourself up and carry on. And that's the attitude that we need in order to become successful. Do you think anybody who's ever been successful stopped after the first failure? So we'll wrap this episode with the words, love yourself, Because if you don't, what are you showing to other people? That it is okay to disrespect you too? If you don't respect yourself, if you don't treat yourself well, people won't do it for you. If you don't set the example that you are worth it. Okay, so thank you for listening and for watching. My podcast is now officially on Spotify as well, Meaning You Give It. You can find it there. And yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe, you can follow me on Spotify. I hope you have an amazing day. Show yourself some love. Till next time, guys. Goodbye.